What's poppin'? Welcome back to Midwest World. Listening to Midwest Talks Boxing, all right? So I recapped the first press conference of Jake Paul and Tank Davis on the Tubecast on the first town. So if you want to listen to that, you know what I'm saying, check that out. But we bringing it here to Midwest Talks Boxing, all right? So I watched the press conference like twice, man, you know, just so I can have it, you know, fresh in my memory and things like that. They got a pretty good undercard. So, you know, they always, you know, Jake Paul fights always have dope undercards. They have to because his fights be bogus. You know what I'm saying? So due to the fact, you know, when you got bogus fights and all that, I mean, you gotta have something like, you know, you gotta offer something like, especially a dope undercard. So they got a dope undercard, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna watch the whole event, you know what I mean? But Alicia Baumgartner, she's fighting a lady named Layla. Don't want to butcher the last name, so I'm going to say Layla. They're going to do the first 3-minute, 12-round fights for the ladies, all right? Or 3-minute, 12-round fight, you know, featuring the ladies. I mean, if you can do it, do it. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I don't want to hear no excuses. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear no... I'm not saying the ladies can't do it. I'm not saying nothing like that, but I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, no. Y'all want to do it, do it. I don't want to hear no kind of excuses after the fight. You know what I'm saying? If you know, they can't last. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You know what I mean? I don't know much about the lady. I mean, the Layla lady. So I'm going for Alicia Baumgartner. That's the co-main event. You know what I mean? So big salute. That's Michigan all day. So I'm repping her all day regardless. I'm just hoping that, you know, the fight is smooth. I'm gonna be tuned in because I want to see how they look and how they perform in 3 minutes, 12 rounds. It may sound easy, but boxing, you know what I'm saying, 3 minutes feel like an eternity. You know what I mean? So we gonna see what it is, especially if neither one of them ever done that. Now I don't know if they did this sparring. They may have been practicing this. You know what I mean? I would like to think they was. If they know they doing 3-minute, 12 rounds. I would like to believe that during your training, this is what you was working on. Actually doing more rounds than that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm just, you know, they had to have done that. They couldn't been just doing regular training thinking you about to roll up in there and do 12 rounds if you never did it before. So, because if you look at boxing, they progressively go from 4 to what? 6 to 8, 10 to 12, or is it 4 to 8, 10 to 12? You know what I mean? Something like that. But they start off with 4 and they progressively go up. You know what I mean? So we're looking at the presser. You know, I'm looking at the presser with Tank and Jake. You know, Tank had a little more energy. You know what I'm saying? He was being more combative with the things Jake Paul was saying, calling out the scripted lollipop answers. Look here, man. The casuals is all into this fight. You know what I mean? Cats that you know that don't really watch boxing like that. You know what I mean? One of the guys who questioned Tank was like, yeah, so who should Drake bet on? Like, what? What? Who? What kind of a question is that? Wow, what kind of a question is that? And Tank asked him, like, is this your first fight? He like, yeah, I can tell. Come on, man, like, what kind of questions is these? It felt like I was looking at, I'm saying, like, this press conference is better than the first one, I must say. But I mean, this is some old. The way Jake Paul be talking is like, bro, knock him out, please, because the thing is this. This is some of the most corniest stuff. I mean, but this is the thing though. We know Jake Paul's corny. He come from Nickelodeon and all that. You know what I mean? So, you know, you can't expect him to be. But it's like, the money don't make you official. It just doesn't. You know what I'm saying? When you say, I'm giving you opportunity. How? Tank don't need Jake Paul? Tank don't need Jake Paul, bro. Tank do not need, I must repeat, Tank does not need Jake Paul. For him to say that is ridiculous, man. Like, and I get it. You know, he got his promotion company. They putting on dope cards. And look, he's doing this thing. But, you know what I'm saying? You having too much dip on the chip, man. Like, it's like, come on, dog. Tank don't need you, bro. Tank, you more so need Tank, bro. Let's be honest, because you don't want to fight nobody. So, you know, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make, this is what happens when you cut the line. And this is what paying your way does. You talk about he gonna be in the Hall of Fame. No, he's not. No, he's not. I don't see Jake Paul being in the Hall of Fame unless he actually boxes real competitors and really do something. I don't see him. He's just gonna be like a butterbean guy. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's all he gonna be. And I can't even say that because butterbean, nah. Look, man. Jake, this is some cheese ball work. I'm not even gonna lie to you. This is some cheese ball work, but it is what it is. You know, now with Tank calling folks out saying certain things is scripted, maybe he's saying this just to kind of sell the fight. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. They was taking bets, you know what I'm saying, on KOs and all that. Let's be honest, man. Like, you know, if Tank both of them can knock each other out just off the simple fact that Tank only like 130, 140, and Jake is over 200. You know what I'm saying? So with that being the case, Jake can knock him out just off size and he can actually punch. You know what I mean? And Tank can knock him out too. You know what I'm saying? Because Jake don't like being hit. So, I mean, I don't think anybody likes being hit, but it's just the thing, like, if Tank connect flush, man, he going to sleep. But he got to connect. He got to be able to get to him to connect. And I'm not saying he can't, you know what I'm saying? Jake Paul got some terrible defense. So, I mean, if Tank connect on him, then, hey, you know, depending on the angle and all that stuff and how you get him, if he connect flush, Jake Paul going down. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? If you remember that fight with Logan Paul and Floyd clocked Logan and he had to hold him up. Just look at it. It's floating around. Tank could definitely do that to Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? You know, but this, I don't know. I don't know. Like, you cannot talk crazy. You know what I'm saying? And you can't talk crazy if you're not willing to fight nobody your size that's official. You can't do that, bro. Like, that doesn't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? But these are the things that people do when they get money. You know what I mean? When they let money characterize them. You know what I'm saying? You know, they get real big-headed. And it's not just this. Anybody with some dough, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people with dough act like they gods out here and talk crazy to you. You know what I'm saying? And Tank just sitting there like, you know what I mean? While Jake Paul saying all this nonsense, trying to allude to the fact that he dumb and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, come on, cut it out, man. Cut it out, because you're not that guy. If you was that guy, you will fight somebody official. You can't talk that and you won't fight nobody official. Now, Tank is official, but how many weight classes is he below him? You don't get no kind of stripes for this. You don't get no kind of stripes for this if you do beat him. You know what I'm saying? And there's question marks if he does. He got to catch Tank. Now, can he? Yeah, all you got to do is press the issue. You know what I'm saying? And he probably can catch him. I don't, but with Tank got superior skills. So I was like, we'll see. We'll see. I don't like the fight, but we'll see. I don't like this. You know what I mean? But I feel like this isn't, I don't feel like they going blow for blow, man. I just don't feel that way. I could be wrong. I just don't feel like they going blow for blow. You know what I mean? I just don't see that. But you cannot be talking the way you do if you don't fight nobody official. You got to fight somebody official. You see, he ducked Hakeem Rockman. Like, you know what I'm saying? He ducked Hakeem Rockman Jr. He wasn't playing with him. Hakeem Rockman Jr. was not playing with him. Hakeem Rockman Jr. was going to put him down. You know what I'm saying? Tommy Fury beat him. And, I think Hakeem Rockman Jr. better than Tommy Fury. Personally, Hakeem Rockman was going to get him. You know what I'm saying? And Jake Paul knew that. So they tried to use the weight thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, we ain't going to do that. Like, you can't, this is the thing. What's hilarious about all this? You duck Hakeem Rockman Jr. for the weight, but yeah, you fighting somebody all these weight classes below you. How does that make sense? How in the F does that make any kind of sense? It don't make sense. You look crazy, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and I know Hakeem Rockman Jr. was going to give it to him because you see how he was fighting my mans from the Cowboys. I keep forgetting dude's name. When he boxed my man, he did a great job too. My man was like 100 pounds over him. You know what I'm saying? He was doing a great job. He just got put down, you know what I'm saying? Because he was just too much bigger, you know what I'm saying? Too much bigger, and my man's can actually fight. I keep forgetting. Greg Hardy. I think it's Greg Hardy. No. I keep forgetting my man's name, dog. You know what I'm saying? I think it's Greg Hardy. Hold on, let me see. I think it's Greg Hardy is his name, bro. You know what I mean? I don't want to be butchering people's names. I'm terrible. I be butchering names and everything, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Greg Hardy. He was Greg Hardy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but Greg Hardy can fight. Well, I would like to see. So nah. Never mind. I think Greg Hardy probably could beat Jake Paul, though, honestly. You know what I'm saying? I do. I think Greg Hardy can get him. You know what I'm saying? But he wouldn't fight nobody like Greg Hardy. You know what I'm saying? Jake Paul wouldn't fight nobody like Greg Hardy. You know what I mean? He wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and I feel like, listen, I really feel like it was funny business with that Cesar Chavez fight. Because when he started actually throwing punches, Jake Paul looked flustered in there. Them last couple rounds, he wasn't throwing no punches, Cesar Chavez. He wasn't throwing. The minute he started throwing, Jake Paul got to retreat quick. You know what I mean? So that tells me there was, and listen, I don't know. I'm assuming this here. You know what I mean? I don't, you know, I feel like it is, but I have no evidence to say that there was funny business with that. But I feel like it was, man. I feel like it was, but there's no proof, no evidence for me to say that. But I do feel like it was deep down inside. I feel because it's like, why is this dude throwing no kind of punches, bro? You know what I'm saying? He could have ended Jake Paul. He could have beat Jake Paul pretty easily, actually, if he threw punches. I don't care nobody say. So the press conference, this one was better. You know what I'm saying? Tank seemed a little more, you know, he walked up, taking bets, you know what I'm saying? But you got these influencers asking questions. It's like, huh? Man, this is ridiculous. Then my man's Calvin Ford made it looked kind of crazy. I mean, Jake Paul got that exchange when they was talking about the gloves, man. You know, when he said, I wasn't aware of that. Like, come on, man, you got this dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, I hope Tank get this. For the sake of boxing, I hope he wins this fight. I really hope he wins this fight because Jake Paul is unbearable. He is. Now, he throws, and this is the thing, I watch the fights because of the undercards. He be having great undercards. Like, him and his team know how to throw an event. And the fights be official. That's on the undercard. Official fights, you know what I'm saying? Great undercards. But his is terrible. But the undercards, if you like boxing, two things can be right. His fights can be BS, but also have great undercards. You know what I mean? So you got to give credit where it's due here. Give credit where it's due. And the credit is great undercards. But man, his fights is terrible. If the guy just fights somebody, you know what I mean? Cool, then okay. If he just fights somebody, legitimate boxers that's in the game. Even if he just fought dudes coming up in the ranks that's hungry, that'd make sense. You know what I'm saying? That'd make sense because I don't see any improvements from Jake Paul like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see, you know why? Because he's not fighting nobody like that. You know what I mean? To challenge him. You know what I'm saying? What is he going to improve on if he's not fighting nobody that's going to challenge him? If he's not fighting the question is, do you want to be looked at as an official boxer? Do you want to be a champion, or you just try to throw a bunch of events just to get paid? Which one? Just keep it a bean. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the evidence shows you just throwing events to get paid. You know what I'm saying? And hey, get your money. But if you try to be a boxer, and if you try to climb up in the ranks, you got to do what boxers do to climb up in the ranks. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of amateurs or guys that's just coming up, pros, that would love a shot at Jake Paul. That's leagues better than him. Like, let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of guys his size that's way better than him. That's looking for the shot. You know what I'm saying? That's trying to come up. They have hundreds of amateur fights and all of that. That'll take Jake Paul to the cleaners. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But he's not gonna fight any of those guys. He's not gonna fight. This is all business, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? This is all business, you know, but this fight, you know, is clearly a sideshow, and Tank Davis alluding to it, and maybe he's doing that even though he said he don't care. Maybe he's doing that throw a signal to the fans like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but the fact is you took the fight. For whatever reasons, you took the fight, you took it. So that's already, you cannot undo the damage. You know what I'm saying? The damage is already done. You took the fight. You know what I mean? So, you know, I feel like he's throwing a signal out to let him know, like, no, I'm not with the scripted stuff, but you took a fight that's pretty much, you know what I mean? This is clearly like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but this press conference was better. You know, like I said, I'm hoping Tank get this, man. You know, I don't want no draw. I hope there's a situation where Tank actually gets serious with him. That's what I'm hoping. I'm being honest. I'm hoping there's a situation where Tank get heated and go upside his head and knock him out. That's what I'm hoping, to be completely real with you. I'm hoping he get KO'd. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping so. You know what I mean? But as much as I hope that, I don't see it. I just see this being a situation where they dancing around the ring. They might throw a couple joints here and there, but they're just going to be circling around the ring, dancing around the ring. That's it, man. And it's probably going to end up being a draw. You know what I'm saying? And both guys getting paid at the end of the day. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. You know what I mean? Maybe Tank just selling the fight. Maybe he not. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't believe everything you see. You know what I mean? And it's evident. Like, you get on the internet, you cannot believe everything you see, and that's the truth. You just can't. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully, Tank show him something. Because he's the superior boxer in every level, shape, and form, except he just don't got the size. That's it. So it is what it is, man. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the content. Really appreciate it from everybody. Peace.